Okay. Big money, no whammies. 10. Plus the dice. Yeah? Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have some very exciting news, and that is I'm in the Dungeons and Book Dragons Readathon. This is going to be the very first readathon that I have ever co-hosted on, and I am so excited and thrilled beyond words. When Ivy went and asked me if I wanted to co-host for this readathon, the answer was a very loud, excited yes. And the team that I will be co-hosting for is Team Druids. Now, if you can't tell by a lot of the different items that I have in front of me, I love D&D. My fiance got me into it. I also really love Critical Role. And I know Trinket belongs to Vexalia and not Keyleth, but still, I just needed to prove my nerdiness right here. I love druids. Usually whenever I play D&D, I tend to be a druid of some sort. Currently in a campaign that I'm in, I'm actually a druid with the Circle of the Spores. So just to give you a little idea of my nerdiness and everything, but that's not why you're here. You're here to basically go and learn more information about the Dungeons and Book Dragons Readathon. Now let me go and tell you some more information about the Dungeons and Book Dragons Readathon. This is Ivy's very first readathon, and let me tell you, she was so great at coming up with all the different details and things to make this turn out so fun, and it's something that I'm very excited for if you can't tell. She went and picked out all these specific details. We'll get to go on main quests, side quests, all these different things to go and make a very fun adventure for all of us to go on. And of course, there are a few different teams, and we will be reading books to see who is actually going to win at the end of this. And of course, I'm probably going to tell you to go and join Team Druids. I'm a little bit biased because that is the team I'm on, but there's a lot of other really amazing teams. And if you're interested in this readathon but maybe don't have the spoons to join, there is another team called Team Halflings that you can go and join at a more relaxed pace and still be able to join on the quests if you'd like to do so. Now, I'm going to go and link the video that Ivy has down in the description bar below, where she goes over things a little bit more thoroughly. And when I find out that the other hosts are having videos as well, I'll try to go and update my description so that you can go and pop over to their videos as well if you'd like to get a little bit more information. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and tell you about Team Druids. Here is my lovely character sheet. I'm not going to lie, I'm really proud of it. I'm so excited. Now, looking at the character sheet I have over here, it kind of goes over a few different things, and you can go and personalize it so it fits a little bit more for you. Ivy went and created her own character sheet that is roughly inspired by the D&D character sheet, but of course is going to be a little bit different for this readathon. Now, what I have here is our class skills. So if you choose to go on Team Druid, there are a few different prompts that will go and get you some bonus XP. And that is something that is very important because you want to basically read the books that are going to help your team get pushed a little bit more ahead with that extra XP. Some of the different ones that we're going to have are reading books with nature, magical transformations, animal companions, and is seasonal. Now, you might be thinking, I really like the idea of joining Team Druid, but I'm not quite sure what books I can read that would actually count for this. Well, you're in luck because I kind of put together a little TBR for myself with a few books for each prompt that would work, and then a few that are maybe floating options that I'm thinking of. And also, if you do join the Discord channel, Ivy has also put together a bunch of broken down examples to go over the prompts that work for each character in this readathon. So let's go and move over to my bookshelves a little bit more so that I can go and show you the books that I have picked out for this. All right, we have changed positions because I wanted to get a little bit more comfortable because I have so many book options to go through with you all. So basically, Team Druids earn bonus XP whenever a book fits one of these categories. All of the following count for full points. So I'm going to start off with the first prompt that we have, which is books with nature and nature themes. So this one is a little bit easier. You can go and of course find books that are set in a forest or might have, hi Nugs, if you join Team Druid, you get a hug from Nuggy. Not actually, but wouldn't that be really cool? Huh? Books that prominently featured the natural world either in its premise or cover of the book. So this includes landscapes, forests, mountains, rivers, oceans, skies, plants such as flowers, trees, herbs, and then weather and natural phenomenon, so storms, auroras, seasons, and then settings that are deeply tied to nature like enchanted forests or wilderness survival stories. So for this prompt, it was so easy to find books that fit. I basically looked through all of my shelves and I was like, you'll work, you'll work, you'll work. So going through some of these, I have Into the Mist by PC Cast. So this one kind of has like biological destruction and things like that. This one would very much work for the nature prompt, and if you can't tell, it also has like these planty clouds on the cover. I feel like this one would be a great fit. And I also really do enjoy apocalyptic books, which I feel like usually involve some sort of destruction on nature. Just saying. Then I have Predatory Natures by Amy Goldsmith. This one has a bunch of plants on the cover. I know that this also involves, I believe, a lot of carnivorous type of plants. This would also be something that I could use easily for the horror bingo card as well, because when you do a lot of readathons, you kind of learn that there's ways to go and make some books work for multiple readathons, and you're just checking off multiple boxes. And if you're a Capricorn like me who loves being competitive and doing things like that, it might fill up your cup just a little bit. I also have What We Harvest. Plant on the cover. I believe this also involves some crops for Hollow's End and things like that, which, speaking of Hollow's End, seasonal, this would work for the seasonal prompt as well. We also have House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland, Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana, and also I have the version that has these gorgeous sprayed edges. Another book that I've been meaning to read for a long time is The Spell Shop, and the second book is The Enchanted Greenhouse. So if you feel like reading books that are in a series, you could easily go and read this book as well as the next one. Wild Blood, that also takes place in the forest. And then It Waits in the Forest by Sarah Dass. And I really love this one. I feel like it seems to have a lot of Poison Ivy vibes. And speaking of Poison Ivy, I've mentioned before in some of my other videos that I love comic books. And you can also read comic books for this readathon as well, but they are going to be half the amount of points. So you just have to kind of split them up a little bit. But I have Poison Ivy Thorns. I also have Batman Arkham Poison Ivy, as well as Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death. So let's say you're not really in the mood to go and read chapter books, but you do have comics like I do. These would easily go and count for the readathon. Like I said, you'll just have to go in half the points on these. Maybe for this readathon, you don't really feel like reading stuff that's cozy per se, and you want to read more nature books that are a little bit more on the horror side. Well, I have some books for that as well. I have Wilderness Reform by Matt Query and Harrison Query, and then also Hunted by Darcy Coates, which I believe takes place in the forest. It also looks very creepy. So honestly, looking around me, I have so many books, and this is kind of turning into more of recommendations, but this works for me because I'm getting to look at some of the books that I have, and this will definitely help allow me better options, better ideas to know what to pick for that would give my team additional points for this readathon. Alright, so moving on to magical transformations. This was one that I kind of struggled with just a little bit. So it's books where a character or creature undergoes a magical or supernatural change. Honestly, the first one that I can kind of think of with this is books that involve werewolves. So the books by Ali Hazelwood, Bride and Mate, those books would easily go and work for this prompt. And if you haven't read them already and you're thinking of and you're joining Team Druid, just saying, you could probably wait until November to read them. But if anything, I do have other book options that we can look at for this one. So I'm thinking Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole could potentially be a book that works for this. I haven't read it before, but it has been one on my list. So I am thinking of this one. I also see that in the background, it looks like there's trees here. And I know trees were something that Ivy said could be on the cover. This one might be a little bit more of a stretch. So if I did read this one, it would be one of those that I'd have to pick up the book, read it to actually see if it fits a prompt. But let's say this one doesn't work for giving me bonus points. All points add up in the end, so let's say you do read a book that doesn't fit the bonus points portion. who cares? You read a book, you went and logged your points, that still helps your team out no matter what. I also have House of Blight, and I think that there is a bug daddy on this one, and this does feel like it would kind of be in the magical transformation part. This is another book that I would have to read as well. Like I was telling you, some of these books I'm not quite sure, and this was actually a prompt that I struggled on a little bit more. So we could see this one. It could also potentially work for seasonal. I feel like this one seems a little bit more eerie for creepy season for Halloween, so we can see if maybe this one would fit as well. And then one that I do know for sure, I believe this one does involve like a werewolf type of transformation. So Lobezona by Romina Garber. This one would work. When the Wolf Comes Home, another book that could work for this prompt as well. Then we have animal companions. So books that include animal companions, either real or mythological. So this one as well, I kind of didn't have a lot of options for it. So some books that I have are ones that honestly I have already read, but the ones I have not read already would be this one, which is Power to Charm by Carly Stevens. I did pick this one up at the Springs Book Bash, and I have been meaning to read it. It is so cute. There are animal companions in this one. This is also one of those cozy seasonal stories as well, which would work for the cozy spot. It isn't really too thick of a book. I believe this is a novella, and novellas are books that also will be worth half the points, but honestly, all points add up, so this is one that I might go and read just as a palate cleanser and a source of easy points to get for this readathon. Another book that I've been meaning to read for a while is The Last Refuge. This one does have a magical animal companion in it, and I've been really wanting to read this one for the longest time. I believe I've probably had it on a few TBRs in the past, so I might go and gravitate to this one as well. It also isn't too thick of a book either, so this would be a quick read. A couple of other books that I found on my bookshelf at the last minute would be Avalon Web of Magic by Rachel Roberts. I believe this one is more of a middle grade book, but I have been meaning to revisit it at some point just because this series was very nostalgic. There also are some cute little images throughout the book, and it was just so precious. I've been slowly working on getting all the books in this series, and I feel like there might be one or two that I'm missing. Then another one would be Dealing with Dragons by Patricia C. Reed. I don't know if I'm saying that last name right. This one could be a bit of a stretch because I wouldn't say that necessarily the dragons are your companions. If anything, you're the companions of the dragons, but still companions of some sort. So Ivy might have to let me know if this one would work, but just so that there's additional options in here. I can't remember if there are any critter, like tinier critter companions that aren't necessarily the dragons, but just putting that out there. Then another book that could work for magical transformations, because this is turning into recommendations and not me going through my TBR, Wake by Amanda Hawking. So with this book, they involve sirens. These girls transform into sirens. So books that involve mermaids and sirens and stuff like that, there you have magical transformations. That would work as well. And I just realized we were on animal companions. So sorry, I'm hopping all over the place. I'm tired, sorry. All right, and then our last prompt for Team Druid would be seasonal reads. So books that match a specific season or vibe, stories that take place primarily in a specific season. So let's say books that take place in autumn, books that take place in winter. Those books will all work. And then also seasonal genres. So cozy and spooky reads are considered seasonal because they're strongly tied to certain times of the year. And then holiday or seasonal themes. So any story tied to specific seasons, holidays, festivals, or seasonal events. So this one I do have a bunch of different books as well. One that I'm currently working on finishing, so this one wouldn't count for the readathon because I will finish it in October. But Tusk Love, I believe this one does take place primarily in autumn. There's a lot of autumn leaves on the cover. This one would be really great and cute for that. And I think there might be a little bit of magical transformation in this one, but I'm only 57 pages in the book so far, so I can't confirm 100% on that. Now, Snow Globe by Soo Young Park is actually a book that is on my TBR. This is the second book in the series. This one has a really intense winter storm going on outside of the Snow Globe, and I have been meaning to finish this series. It is a duology, so this one will probably be one that I end up picking up next month just so I can not only finish the series, but also gain points for my team. Well Met by Jen De Luca. So this one involves a Renaissance fair, and Ren fairs usually, depending on which state you're in, happen at a specific time of the year. Here in Colorado, Ren fairs always happen during the summer and end I think the first week of August. So Ren fairs would definitely go in work for the seasonal prompt as well. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I've been slowly working on rereading the series, and the Hunger Games always happen during a certain time of the year, so books like this would also work for this prompt as well. Then we also have Shiver by Allie Reynolds. This is one that I do plan on reading, and this one takes place during a winter snowstorm. It also involves a murder. So if you can't tell, there's a lot of different genres and books that I have in these piles. So depending on whether or not you want something that's more lighthearted, something that's more scary, any of those types of books, you can definitely find a prompt in this readathon that will work for them. Then I have Anathema by Carrie Lake. This has been a book that I've been wanting to read for the longest time, and I feel like this one definitely has those creepy vibes that are perfect for this time of year. So I am thinking about reading this one. I'm also seeing a lot of dead trees and forest here. So I have a feeling that there's at least one prompt for Team Druid that I can get to work for this book. Then I have a couple of hopefuls that I will have to go and take a closer look at to see if there's any prompt that they fit. But I have Ruinous Creatures by Jessie Cole Jackson. This is one that I have an arc for, and I've been really wanting to read this. It also has some pieces in it that feel like really great inspiration for a D&D character I'm doing outside of this readathon. So I'd really like to get the chance to go and read this book, especially before that D&D campaign that I'm in starts. So hopefully I can get this one to work. It also does have flowers on the cover as well. And I mean, the skull, couldn't that kind of be an animal companion even though it's dead? Ivy's gonna have to keep me honest on a lot of these because I feel like I could be stretching with a few things. But like I said, either way, I'd probably have to read this book and see if there's a prompt from Team Druids that could work, and if not, still get points either way for reading the book. Phantasma by Kaylee Smith is one that I've been really wanting to read as well. I'm not quite sure reading the back of the book how this one could potentially work for Team Druid, so this one I would probably need to go and read. I know that there's a game involved in this one, but I don't know if that game is seasonal or if this is just an event that randomly ended up happening. So I will have to go and read this, or if you've read it before and you think this would fit for Team Druids, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Then the last one that is kind of a hopeful for me is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. I feel like this one would work for the Halloween season, especially since it involves like paranormal stuff and everything. So I would have to go and read this one as well just to go and see. But this is another hopeful one that I would like to go and add to my TBR for November. But yeah, those are a handful of book recommendations that I have for each of these different prompts. As you can see, there's some that I have a lot more options than for other categories, but I'm sure if I spent more time looking through my bookshelves, I'm sure I could go and find even more recommendations that could work. So if you're thinking about going and joining Team Druid, definitely go and pay attention to my channel because I do plan on having little shorts that I'll put up where it's specific books for a certain prompt that could work. But yeah, if you're excited for this readathon, I definitely like to hear down in the comments below. If you're not planning on joining my team, which I'll try not to be too upset. Just kidding. If you are planning on going and joining a team, I would love to hear which team you're thinking about joining down in the comments. All of us are so excited for this readathon. Like I said, Ivy has done such an amazing job going and thinking about all these different details in this, and you don't need to worry if you've never played D&D before. That's not going to be a requirement for this D&D readathon. If anything, it might initiate this spark in you where you think about maybe joining an actual D&D campaign, or maybe picking up a game like Baldur's Gate 3, which is a great kind of opening and segue into D&D because there's a lot of similarities in that game as well. But I am so excited for this readathon. I think it's going to be so much fun. And if you made it to this point in the video and you don't know what to comment or just want to let me know that you were here, maybe go and leave some plant emotes in the comments, just because I am Team Druid and we do have a lot of stuff with nature and animals and stuff like that. But thank you so much for watching this video. I am so excited to co-host my very first readathon. I will also be doing sprints for this as well, and some of the other hosts will be doing those too, so I'll probably go and share that information on posts on my channel, so definitely keep an eye out for those as well. I'm sorry that this video has probably been so long because I've talked about all these different books that would work, but as you can tell, my enthusiasm and excitement for this is just through the roof right now. But I gotta go and put all these books away, so I will talk to you later, and as always, I want to remind you all that you're worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye, friends! Hi. You ready for those Nugget bloopers? When Nugget... When Nugget... Nugget! No, Nugget did not ask me to be a part of this readathon, did you? See, Druids have animals around them, right, Nugs? Yeah.